All Renegades of Puck to the trenches. It's time for Renegades of Puck TV. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. Welcome into the bunker. Remember, you should be voting for us for Sports Podcast of the Year. Recently nominated by the Sobros Network for the Spirit of Nashville Awards for the year of 2021. Under 8 weeks on the job so far, and we've already been nominated for Podcast of the Year in the sports category. So proud to be competing against so many great people in this category, especially our good friends over at On the Forecheck. So please go there and vote for us. We sure would appreciate your support when it comes to that. So again, that's the SobrosNetwork.com. That's exactly how you can find it. And just vote for their Spirit of Nashville Awards. We look forward to accepting that award and being in that category for many, many years to come. Remember, RenegadesOfPuck.com is where you can go to check out everything you need to know about the Renegades of Puck, especially the link to our merchandise page. A lot of you took advantage of that opportunity to have that 25% off that we posted earlier today on all of our social media platforms. It's great to see so many of our t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and other various items being moved out the door over the holiday season. Great gifts. Renegades of Puck merchandise. You can find our logo on virtually anything. And remember, you can also find our brand new Pride logo on the same merchandise. We've got everything marked down to make it really affordable, and we'll put out those coupon codes as often as we can. So remember, that's renegadesofpuck.com. You can find us on almost every social media platform now. We sure would appreciate it if you would subscribe to us at YouTube. We continue building the YouTube channel. That is primarily where YouTube TV, where Renegades of Puck TV is going to be airing. So we appreciate you following us there. Facebook, of course, you can give us a follow there, and you can share our links all throughout your Facebook community. Twitter, give us a follow at Renegades of Puck. And Twitch, the behind-the-scenes stream that is live here in the bunker. You can see whenever we make mistakes, you can get the information first, and you can join us live for the debriefing after each and every Nashville Predators game. We'd appreciate it if you would give us a follow there. And we also have a couple of new options for you. That's right, we have a brand new Instagram page for the Renegades of Puck, so go ahead and give us a follow over there. And don't forget our SoundCloud page. We've done a good job now of getting the audio version of Renegades of Puck TV up. We're calling it Renegades of Puck Radio so that you know exactly what version you're getting. It's the audio-only version. We've been asked and requested to bring that back to the forefront, so we are going to go ahead and start promoting that here again. That's SoundCloud. You can be a partner of the show by going to Venmo and searching Renegades of Puck, or just scanning the QR code right there on your screen. We certainly would appreciate if you can donate anything to the Renegades of Puck, especially right now over the holidays as we continue building our bunker out. We're getting a second microphone position probably around the beginning of the new year. We might have to wait until the break to do a little bit of construction in the NHL season around February, but we are adding new equipment. We have the new microphone sitting just off camera right now, and we're going to continue doing that. So anything you can donate to the show is a tremendous help to us. Again, that's at Venmo.com. We've got great sponsors, and I look forward to telling you about them throughout this video. But for now, let's get to the no half-step in hockey coverage, because that's exactly what you come here for. The Nashville Predators now find themselves, after 24 games played, in third place in the Central Division. They have a record of 13-10-1. That is 27 points, and they find themselves 8 points behind the Minnesota Wild. The St. Louis Blues are in second place in the Central Division. They are 1 point ahead of the Nashville Predators at 28, and then the Preds at 27, and then a large jumble at 26, including Colorado, Dallas, and Winnipeg. The Blackhawks, followed by the Coyotes, bring up the basement of the division. For the Nashville Predators, now heading back out on the road after going 2-1 on their most recent 3-game homestand. 5-5-1 is their record on the road. Their goals for, goals against, even at 68. This team truly is in the very middle of the pack of the entirety of the NHL, and most of the Nashville Predators numbers will indicate that very thing. After the Nashville Predators take on the Detroit Red Wings, they will take on the New York Islanders, and then Friday they will be in New Jersey. Sunday they will take on the New York Rangers. On the 14th of December, they'll be back home to face off against the Calgary Flames, and on the 16th of December, they'll face off against the Colorado Avalanche on home ice. It's the first of 2 meetings this season between the Nashville Predators and the Detroit Red Wings. The second meeting will come on the 22nd of January when the Preds will host the Wings here in Detroit. Now, listen, this is not the same Red Wings team that has been floundering the last couple of seasons, they are starting to put it together, and a couple of savvy moves in the offseason, including in goal, have made the Red Wings a much more competitive team, especially in the building where the Nashville Predators will be taking them on. 13-9-3 overall in season, 29 points has them fourth in the Atlantic, but they are 9-2-2 on home ice. 71 goals for on the season versus 78 goals against. But listen, do not be deceived. On home ice, they have an incredible record, and in their recent stretch of hockey, they are playing very good. Let's take a look at just their last 5 games. By the way, they all happen to be victories. On the 24th of November, it was a 4-2 win versus the St. Louis Blues. On the 27th, a 3-2 overtime win versus the Buffalo Sabres. They went on the road into Boston, came away with a 2-1 victory. Then a 4-3 shootout win at home versus the Seattle Kraken. And just recently, a 4-3 overtime win versus the New York Islanders on home ice, sending the Islanders into an incredible losing skid. Nedeljkovic picked up the win in that game, 20 out of 23. When you're looking for consistency in rankings amongst the league teams, the Detroit Red Wings are right there in the 20s in everything. Goals for, they are 21st at 2.80 goals against. They're 22nd at 3.12. Shots for at 28.9 is 25th. Shots against is 25th. Their power play is 25th. Their penalty kill is 26th. They've given up 18 power play goals against. And again, the record could look a little bit deceiving. The goals differential could look a little deceiving. This is a team that's playing red hot, especially on home ice right now. So the Nashville Predators need to show some improvements, especially where they've been slipping considerably as of late, and that is on the special teams. The Nashville Predators league rankings right now, they sit at 2.79 in goals per game. That is 22nd in the NHL. In goals against at 2.83, that's 14th in the league. Shots for, they are moving up in this one metric, 19th, and they have 30 shots per game now. Shots against, they are 9th in the NHL. The Predators' power play is rated 8th best in the NHL, converting 16 out of 70 times, good for 22.9%. But as we all know from watching game in and game out, this number is slipping. You might look in for the first time and see 8th best in the NHL and think that's great. But recently, the Nashville Predators power play has been struggling. On the penalty kill, the Nashville Predators have given up 17 power play goals against. They're rated 24th best in the NHL. It's 78.2%. When you go inside the news notes and stats for these two teams, for the Nashville Predators, it's highly improbable at this time of year, but the Nashville Predators do not have any injuries listed at this time. In the statistical categories, Mikael Granlund at 5 goals and 21 assists leads the team with 26 total points overall. Matt Duchene just behind with 13 goals and 11 assists for 24 points. Matt Duchene hasn't scored a goal in a couple of games now, so you expect he will be breaking out soon. Roman Josi at 7 and 14 is good for 21 points. Then Ryan Johansson has 6 goals and 13 assists for 19 points. And Philip Forsberg now sitting at 11 goals and 5 assists for 16 points. UC Saros, of course, the starting goaltender for the Nashville Predators, now holds a record of 11-8-1, a .921 save percentage of 2.37 goals against average. Looking at the stats on the other side for this game with the Detroit Red Wings, Raymond pacing the Wings 10 plus 12 for 22 points. And then there's Dylan Larkin at 10 goals and 11 assists for 21 points. Bertuzzi at 9 and 9 for 18. And Seider at 3 and 14 for 17 points overall. Nedeljkovic picked up in the offseason by the Wings, 8-3-3 on the season, a .920 save percentage, a 2.60 goals against average. And the Nashville Predators certainly had plenty of experience going up against Nedeljkovic last year when he was with the Carolina Hurricanes. He is a very difficult goaltender to go up against. This is going to be a very good and solid matchup between two teams that are definitely trying to make their way into the upper third of the NHL, but struggling to do so at this point. Don't take the Wings light. You got to go in there and you got to play a very tough game against this team. They are not going to give an inch on home ice, and they've become a lot more difficult to play against than you might remember from recent seasons. It's now time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap, brought to you by Rebirth Sports. Go to rebirthsports.com or go to social media. Look on Facebook and Twitter for Rebirth Sports. Not only this jersey that you see me wearing right here on Renegades of Puck TV, but so many other jerseys that you've seen me wear and plenty of other hockey players wear before. The Wish Cup, plenty of other tournaments, the Mighty Drunks, lots of other rec league teams here across Middle Tennessee. They can make your hockey operation look as good as we look right here in the bunker. Make sure you're giving them some stick taps, love, and respect at Rebirth Sports. Been emailing back and forth. Just tremendous partners here for Renegades of Puck. We are so happy to be in the trenches and being in business with Rebirth Sports. So check them out, rebirthsports.com. Let's get into the recap. You give me 10 minutes and I'll give you the game. You give us an additional 10 minutes and the Renegades of Puck will give you all of the analysis, stats, and opinions to get you all caught up on everything that's happening with the Nashville Preds. Your line combinations for the game on 12/4/21 versus the Montreal Canadiens. By the way, this is the first time the Nashville Preds have played a duplicate opponent on the schedule this season. So the second meeting of the season between the Nashville Preds and the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, the Nashville Preds played probably their worst game of the season in Montreal, falling 6-3, and now they have an opportunity to make up for that on home ice. Tolvanen, Johansson, and Cunnin are your first line. Forsberg, Granlund, and Duchesne. Trennan, Sissons, and Jeannot, better known as the Herd line. Cousins, Novak, and Tomasino make up your fourth line. Yossi and Fabro, Ekholm and Carrier, Borowiecki and Benning are your defensive pairings, and UC Saros with the start in net. Now, we've got a lot of action in this game, and it all starts at 28 seconds when Hoffman's off to the box, 2 minutes for tripping, giving the Nashville Predators their first power play opportunity of the game. Allen comes up with a huge save on Johansson during the power play. At 4:52, we see Tolvanen get his second goal of the season finally. First game of the season all the way till now without a goal. His second goal of the season. Cunnin hard on the forecheck, forces the turnover. Ekholm's long shot is absolutely deflected perfectly by Eeli Tolvanen, and he picks up his second goal of the season, giving the Nashville Preds a 1-goal lead over the Montreal Canadiens. And you've got to hope for Eeli Tolvanen that this is going to be his big breakout moment when he gets back to scoring. He's been through these types of stretches before, and he's always broken out of them, so hopefully this is the beginning of that. At 7:22 of the first period, Allen's got a big save on Duchesne. 7:27, Savard is off to the box, 2 minutes for cross-checking. We see Johansson get a shot, has to be stopped with the toe by Allen. Great save right here by the netminder in this one. Johansson at 12:21 is off to the box, 2 minutes for high sticking. UC Saros comes up with a save on Caulfield from the low circle, and then immediately after comes up with another save on Caulfield, plus the rebound jam attempt, and Trennan comes and cleans everybody out, taking them from the post all the way to the back wall. Great job by Trennan right here on this situation. At 15:20, Allen's stick prevents Duchesne's pass from getting across the top of the crease over to Granlund for an easy tap and goal. At 16:15, Cousins is stopped by Allen, crashing the net hard. And at 18:50, Suzuki's off the box, 2 minutes for hooking. Some good zone time for the Preds, but they're unable to convert. We hit the end of the first period with the Predators out shooting the Montreal Canadiens 12-9 and holding a 1-0 lead. Carry over of 50 seconds of the power play into the second period. One shot on goal by the Predators, and it was Cunnin's redirect at the top of the crease. At 1:59, after the power play is over, we see Borowiecki and Pizzetta go off to the box, 5 minutes each for fighting. This was a real rock'em sock'em bout. It was Pizzetta putting a big hit on Benning, and then Borowiecki stepping in to let him know with several lefts and rights simultaneously that he didn't appreciate that very much about his defensive partner. 2:16 of the second period. Saros comes with another save on Caulfield. This time it is off of the rush at 3:57. UC Saros comes with a save on Hoffman, and he catches the rebound out of midair, preventing a secondary scoring opportunity. UC Saros, the Nashville Predators, under pressure here in the second period. Montreal pushing back at 4:11. That's when Carrier goes off the box, 2 minutes for holding the stick, and Suzuki converts, giving Montreal their first goal of the game, tying this game up at 1 apiece. His fifth goal of the season was a wrist shot through the legs of Ekholm into the top corner. It was a legitimate, perfect shot for Suzuki, putting the Canadiens on the board. 8:03. Novak's got a scoring opportunity stopped by Allen off of the rush at 11:01. Montreal takes a 2-1 lead on Dvorak's fifth goal of the season. He out-hustles the Preds to negate an icing, and he sets up his own goal. Gets the puck out to the slot area for a shot, and then he cleans up the rebound. It gets challenged for goalie interference. It is called no interference. I know we are going to hear a lot more about this coming up here in just a little bit once we finish the full Rebirth game recap. 2 minutes for delay of game because the Nashville Predators challenged for goalie interference and failed to gain the challenge. Carrier is also off to the box now. 2 minutes for high sticking. That's going to lead to a 5-on-3 scenario for 1 minute and 4 seconds. UC Saros is able to hold the post versus Suzuki. Then he is able to get some help from Ekholm, clearing the rebound into his pads before it can end up in the back of the net. At 15:49, Allen stops Benning's long shot and Tomasino's rebound opportunity. But at 17:24, the Nashville Predators are going to get the tying goal from Tanner Jeannot, his sixth goal of the season, tying the game up at 2 apiece. Matthias Ekholm with another long shot that gets deflected down by Jeannot. Checked for a high stick and renewed reviewed, but it didn't take very long to determine that it was, in fact, a good goal. We've got a tie game. In 1953, Forsberg is stopped by Allen 2 times on the doorstep. In 1958, Hoffman takes a penalty off to the box 2 minutes for hooking. We hit the end of the second period with the Preds have a carryover of 158 on a power play, out shooting Montreal 24-18. And as Sean C. Smith said going into the third period, it looks like the Preds are poised to come away with the victory starting the third period with the power play. He would be correct, but not right away. The Nashville Preds would actually generate very little life during the 158 that carried over into the third period. It was actually quite disappointing to see that they were unable to come up with a better plan out of the intermission. 3 minutes into the third period, Kulak's got his first goal of the season. How many times have we said somebody's got their first goal of the season against the Nashville Preds? It comes off of the rush. Borowiecki disrupted it to the detriment of UC Saros. He was able to get his stick on it back checking, but that ended up causing the puck to move on a little bit of a different angle with a little bit of a wobble, beating UC Saros 3-2 in favor of Montreal now. 3:39 into the third period. Cunnin and Kulak are off to the box, 5 minutes each. I was wondering why there was no instigator, but if I ask about an instigator on this one, I have to say it was very similar to the way Borowiecki started his fight earlier, so I guess the ref was just calling it even in this scenario. 7:13 in the third period. Granlund is stopped at the top of the crease by Allen. D support on the rebound. Granlund had 2, 3, maybe 4 swings at the loose puck there in the crease, but the D was able to help keep that puck out of the net. I flip over to the back of the sheet for only the second time this season on a game recap, and we find we're at 10-12 of the third period where Luke Cunning's got his 4th goal of the season, and one word epitomizes this goal, and it is jam. Multiple stuff attempts by Johansson and by Cunnin before the puck finally finds its way into the back of the net. It's Cunnin's 4th goal of the season, completing the Gordie Howe hat trick. And now the Nashville Predators have tied the game up at 3 apiece at Bridgestone Arena. 12:47. It's a bench minor to Montreal for too many men on the ice. Allen has to come up with a huge save. He absolutely robs him from the low slot. Good pressure by the Nashville Predators, but Allen is just amazing in this game, and he is standing tall against the Nashville Predators. 18:20 of the third period. Saros comes up with a save on Lekkonen's breakaway. It is the first shot on goal of the period for the Montreal Canadiens, and you know goaltenders routinely find themselves getting frozen, losing focus, all kinds of things when they go a lengthy stretch without facing a shot on goal. You have to go all the way back into the second period. So an intermission plus almost an entire period of hockey without facing a shot, and then it's a breakaway in a tie game. UC Saros comes up absolutely huge in this scenario, as he frequently does. 18:53. Fabro takes a drag across the slot. It's stopped by Allen. It's also the Predators' 40th shot on goal in this game. Back-to-back games with 40 shots on net for the Nashville Predators. 1913, Duchesne can't end the game at the back door. We head to overtime with the Nashville Predators out shooting the Montreal Canadiens 41-20. 54 seconds into the overtime period, UC Saros comes up with a save on Hoffman's breakaway. So back-to-back scoring opportunities for the Montreal Canadiens after not having a shot on goal for nearly 45 minutes of real time. Back-to-back breakaways in a tie game. UC Saros comes up huge again. Then at 1:23, Saros with another save on Caulfield, who was cutting across the top of the crease, trying to outweight UC Saros. But with the edge work, the focus, the concentration that UC Saros displays, you are simply not going to score in that manner very often. 2:25, Allen makes an incredible save on Tomasino on the back post. Preds are trading scoring opportunities when at 4:49, that's right, just 11 seconds to go in overtime, it's Philip Forsberg ending this game in favor of the Nashville Predators with his 11th goal of the season, putting the Preds over 4-3 in the overtime session. It was Granlund taking the handoff from Philip Forsberg right around the half wall. He takes the puck behind the net, goes all the way out the other side as everyone on the defense chases Granlund and follows the puck. Philip Forsberg finds himself in a nice quiet space wide open at the back door, and it's a perfect cross-crease pass to Forsberg off of the pad of Allen and into the net. The Nashville Predators' hands go up, and everybody spills out onto Broadway celebrating an incredible Saturday night. Listen, this game should not have been as close as it was. The Nashville Predators, based on records, based on the Montreal Canadiens play this season, the Nashville Predators should have been able to defeat this team in an easier way, but the Nashville Predators did defeat this team, and they did get the 2 points tonight, and they did even up the season series, even though Montreal picks up 3 points in total in the 2 games. For the Nashville Predators, they do have to find better ways to handle teams that are this bad in the standings, and they'll have a couple of opportunities coming up on the next road trip. But all in all, at the end of the day, the Nashville Predators come away with the victory. in what was, if you just take it as a one standalone game, that was a hell of a hockey game at Bridgestone Arena tonight. Very exciting, 4-3 in overtime, a couple of fights, a lot of big hits, some pretty goals out there on the ice, breakaways, great goaltending. This hockey game legitimately had everything, and it's the kind of hockey that everybody should get to see on a regular basis, and I'm so happy that it happened for everybody that was at Bridgestone Arena tonight. What a great win for the Nashville Preds, and now they'll have an opportunity to take a day off before heading on out on the road trip and heading on up to Detroit to take on the Red Wings and then heading on over into the Northeast. UC Saros was absolutely incredible in this game. He went 20 out of 23. We just finished talking about how long he went without facing a shot. Then he faces 2 breakaways at critical points in the game. He also had to deal with goaltender interference on one of the goals for Montreal. You know who's got this covered for me. He's going to tell me everything that I need to know about what happened between the pipes tonight. There was so much in this game. I need the starting goaltender of the Renegades of Puck to jump on in the trenches with me right now and talk me through this non-goalie interference call, and also talk to me through UC Saros and Jake Allen's performances tonight at Bridgestone Arena. You can find him on Twitter at GreekGoalie35. You can watch him on Renegades of Puck TV right here. He's a man so far ahead in the future, he's going to tell us everything we need to know. He is, of course, MOSTRODAMUS.
Thank you, Charlie. What more could you ask for from a Saturday night game at Bridgestone Arena? 4-3 overtime victory for the home team against the Montreal Canadiens, seeking a little bit of revenge, of course, from what happened up in Montreal a few weeks back. UC Saros stopped 20 out of 23 shots. Not a whole lot of workload, but a very difficult workload for UC Saros, especially the third period when he faces one shot 3 minutes in, gives up a goal, doesn't face another shot for almost 15 and a half minutes later, and it's a breakaway to save the game as it was tied 3-3 at that point, and he comes up large on that one, comes up with another breakaway save in overtime. Again, not seeing a whole lot of rubber his night, and UC Saros, whether it's a ton of shots on goal against, he proved that last season when the team wasn't very good, and this season when he's not facing so many shots, he's proven that he stays engaged into the game and does not give up any softies. So good on UC Saros, of course, coming up big when he needed to Saturday night. Jake Allen was absolutely magnificent on the other end. 40 out of 44 shots, and the first 3 shots that went in against him were not clean. They were all deflections or scrums in front of the net. Of course, you had the very first goal, the deflection on Eli Tolvanen's goal. You have Tanner Jeannot in front of the net. That deflection, which they argued was high, it was not. Of course, replay would show. And then the mad scramble in front with Luke Cunnin getting that goal. And, of course, the last goal, Philip Forsberg, which you got to look at this another way. If you're Philip Forsberg, a lot of guys get their stick knocked out of their hands. They immediately stop playing, skate around, and look at the official with their hands up in the air looking for a call. Philip Forsberg doesn't do that, doesn't even think about doing that. He just circles back, retrieves his stick, knows that Mikael Granlund has the puck, goes to the side of the net where there's nobody else guarding him, and he just puts that in an almost impossible angle. And Jake Allen got a piece of that one as well. If the pads were back when Garth Snow's days, back in the mid to late 90s, then you're looking at possibly that puck not going in. Went right off the top of the pad of Jake Allen and eventually into the net. Now, there is a point I do want to bring up that what happened earlier in the game, which was the goaltender interference that the Preds challenged. Listen, if you're the NHL and you go to review, you must have the rule book somewhere around where you're looking at this play and thinking whether it's goaltender interference or not. I know it's been a running gag for years. What's goaltender interference? Well, let's go to the rule book and actually quote it verbatim, okay? If a defending player has been pushed, shoved, or fouled by an attacking player so as to cause the defending player to come into contact with his own goaltender, such contact shall be deemed contact initiated by the attacking player. For purpose of this rule, and if necessary, a penalty will be assessed to the attacking player, and if a goal is scored, it would be disallowed. So, not only should the goal not have counted, there's a potential that could have been a penalty called as well, and they did neither. They allowed it to happen, and because of the new challenge rule, you challenge a goal, it's upheld, now you're penalized for it. The Preds go on the penalty kill, and of course, on the high sticking call against Carrier, now go have to defend 5-on-3. That's absolutely the turning point of the game. If Montreal gets that and goes up 3-1, you might be looking at a different result tonight. Thankfully, the Preds killed it off and eventually started dominating the rest of the second period. Did have to come back, of course, later in the third to get the game back tied and go into overtime. So kudos to them, because this night could have gone very badly, and a lot of angry fans pointing at the officiating end up in Toronto to figure out why that goal was still allowed. And, of course, the impending rule, which delay of game, and the Preds end up shorthanded out of the whole thing. So Preds eventually come out with a victory. Next up, enough of the home games. They finished 2 out of 3 at home for the second straight 3-game homestand. They go up to Detroit, who, shockingly, if you haven't been paying attention, has actually started reaping some of the rewards of these high draft picks and this young, talented roster that they have. They've won 5 games in a row, 5 straight at home, 7 of 8 overall at home. And this team right now is currently in a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. Do not sleep on Detroit. They are a different team than you've understood over the last couple of seasons. They're finally starting to reap some of those rewards, like I said. In net for them, Alex Nedeljkovic, yes. Alex Nedeljkovic rears his ugly head again in Nashville. Of course, you remember him from what happened last year's playoffs against Carolina. He's been outstanding for Detroit, 8-3-3 on the season, .920 save percentage, fantastic save percentage, 2.6 goals against. So the goals against a little bit high, but that shows you how many shots against Detroit allows. So again, Nedeljkovic, UC Saros, Tuesday night up in Detroit, the start of a 4-game homestand, 4-game Eastern homestand, road trip rather, for the Nashville Predators. 4 games on the road, Eastern time zone. Preds, get used to the early time slot that you had on Saturday night. Charlie, back to you.
You can find him on Twitter at GreekGoalie35. You can watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. He's always up for the interaction, so don't hesitate to reach out to MOSTRODAMUS. Fantastic work right there. He's all fired up, and I sure do appreciate it. When you bring that level of passion to the trenches, it is always welcome. That's the type of no half-stepping analysis we like to hear. Listen, we've got to hear from Sean C. Smith as well. He was on the front lines tonight. He was at Bridgestone Arena. He has receded back to his bunker, and he is going to give us a report on everything that he saw tonight. And this is going to be presented by Strong Style Fit. We have a very special combination coming up, a crossover event with Strong Style Fit coming up to help get you Renegades of Puck up, motivated, and moving. It's going to be a very light workout. It's going to be designed to help you out over the holidays, to keep you stretching, to keep you motivated, and to keep you going for the new year. So Strong Style Fit. Remember, you can always find out more about Strong Style Fit by going to strongstylefit.com or searching on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Strong Style Fit. 150 workouts now by a certified personal trainer from beginner to expert. Everything you need is right there, completely free and donation based. All you have to do is get up, get off the couch, and hit play on any one of these amazing videos. Tracy will guide you through from start to finish each and every one of them. We'll have something special coming and a cross promotion with Strong Style Fit here in the next couple of days. So very much looking forward to that. Sean C. Smith was out there on the front lines tonight. You can read his work at ontheforecheck.com. You can find him on Twitter at SCSOTF, or you can watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. Sean, take it away.
Thanks, Charlie. Hey, Renegades. Sean C. Smith just got back after an exciting game at Bridgestone Arena. And I want to say this, before we get started talking anything about the game, I've heard a lot of complaints recently about jerseys, but I want to say this. You know who's never let me down with the jersey? Rebirth Sports, baby. That's right. This Renegades of Pucks jersey by Rebirth Sports is probably one of the most comfortable things I've ever worn, and it's always smooth when I put it on. And I tell you what, it makes doing these game talks with you even better. So if you're looking for a great jersey, look no further than Rebirth Sports. All right, let me say this. We can talk about a lot of things from tonight's game. But something I want to talk about is Dan Highnote. Now, I know there's a lot of talk about Luke Cunnin. I know there's a lot of talk about Philip Forsberg. But I want to talk about Coach Dan Highnote. He's the assistant coach on the team. And I think what I heard tonight after the game really just screams to me Dan Highnote. I'm going to tell you why. Way back when he was hired, we were doing interviews with him on Zoom. One of the things he said, and this was before he'd ever sat down with players on the team, he made the comment. He said, the team wants to get back to a situation where you do the right things all night, and by the end of the game, it pays off. Now, what he's talking about is being hard to play against. What he's talking about is playing hard all night, going into the corners and doing the dirty work you need to do to get the puck. He's talking about finishing your checks. And you saw a team tonight that finished their checks and did everything they needed to do. I commented earlier that Tanner Jeannot looked like Derrick Henry out there, and he did. He's bulldozing guys. Every opportunity, the Preds are finishing their checks. They're making guys pay the price to get things done. Look, Matt Benning gets put into the boards. Mark Borowiecki has an immediate response and wears this dude out. I can't even remember the guy's name. He probably can't remember his own name after the beating he took from Borowiecki. But that's the thing. You don't get to take liberties. You don't get to put guys in the boards without expecting some kind of response. And that's exactly what you saw tonight. Luke Kunin, on his birthday, was willing to drop the gloves and throw down. So what's interesting to me about all this is what Philip Forsberg said after the game tonight. He said, everybody drives all night, and eventually teams won't be able to keep up with us. Now, this is like a year and a half past the hiring of Dan Hinote, but you're starting to hear the players say the things that Hinote said on day one of being hired by the team. And that's exactly what you want, is someone who's going to permeate the culture of the team and get them on board with that kind of mentality. John Hines talked about mental state and mentality after the game. Look, you take away from the loss what you need to take away from it. You don't bring the sadness. You don't bring the anger. You don't get down on yourself for losing. You look at what was good in the game and you replicate it. You look at what was bad from the game and you erase it. The team's going to go forward from this win over the Canadiens, looking at the good and taking it with them, and looking at the bad and getting rid of it. And that's exactly what you want your team to do. So I'm going to say big shout out to Coach Dan Hinote tonight for being able to permeate the culture of this team, get inside their heads, and get them to play the style of hockey that they've been wanting to play for quite a while now. So I'm going to throw it back over to you, Charlie.
Sean C. Smith with the report from the front lines. Fantastic work getting at Bridgestone Arena tonight, covering the game, multiple hours of running our social media feeds tonight, bringing us incredible coverage from pregame through the game to postgame. Sean C. Smith delivered the goods tonight. We sure to appreciate him, and we sure to appreciate Strong Style Fit for presenting that segment. Let me give you some numbers from the box score before we head over to the Renegade Analytics desk. Your goal scorers in tonight's game: Philip Forsberg, of course, with the overtime game winner. Tanner Jeannot, Luke Kunin, and Eeli Tolvanen, his second goal of the season. Hopefully that means he's about to break out of what he has been in so far. But he's been playing some very good hockey, and there's other numbers in this box score that will indicate the overall complete performance of Eeli Tolvanen. Mikael Granlund had an assist in this game. Ryan Johansson had an assist. Luke Kunin, of course, had an assist as part of his Gordie Howe hat trick. Benning, Carrier, Yossi, each with an assist. Ekholm with 2 assists. We've mentioned several times as of late there were no points coming from the defensive side of things, and anybody who's watched the Nashville Predators for the last decade plus knows that the Nashville Predators offense has always been driven and led by the defensemen, surprisingly. So for the Nashville Predators defenseman to get back on the score sheet tonight, it was a big assist and a big help to the top line players. Taking a look at some of the other numbers: shots, Forsberg led the team in shots on goal with 7. Granlund had 5. Tolvanen had 4. Fabro also had 5 shots on net tonight. Block shots, 2 was the high. 3 players with that: Forsberg, also Tolvanen, and Benning. Again, Tolvanen right here at the tops of a statistical category for the Predators. In hits, Kunin had 3 in this game. Trennan had 3. And in time on ice, and John Hines, I get it. I'd play Mikael Granlund 24-13 every night, too. I'd play him a lot more with the ability he has, the vision, the world-class passing, and the grit and grind that he brings into the game every night. Mikael Granlund can't take enough shifts for this Nashville Predators team. It is truly one of the more enjoyable storylines to watch how Mikael Granlund, since the trade, was almost dealt from this team multiple times, now signing a long-term contract. And I saw it on Twitter tonight, and I wish I could remember who tweeted it so I could go ahead and give them credit. But why would Philip Forsberg want to leave after this season in free agency when the other team he could sign with would not have Mikael Granlund? Something to think about. The chemistry that those two are putting on display out there in the short sample size this season is almost otherworldly. I look forward to it continue progressing. And of course, your captain Roman Josi led the team in total time on ice, as he often does. 30-26 in time on ice. This is the first time I can recall seeing him over 30 minutes this season. So the captain of the Nashville Predators out there helping his squad get it done. You know who's got better numbers than me? He runs the Renegade Analytics desk. He is, of course, Bryan Bastin. And Bryan Bastin is brought to you by Stripe Digital Solutions. Stripe Digital Solutions can be found on social media, Facebook and Instagram, or stripedigitalsolutions.com. You know about Stripe Digital Solutions by now. Help me create the logo. Helps me maintain the website, renegadesofpuck.com, and is also helping me craft a digital advertising platform that is going to get us in all kinds of new places and bring Renegades to the trenches one by one each and every day. We're coming up with more and more ideas to help with our platform and our social media engagement and all of these things. Listen, you can't fight the algorithm alone. No one can. And that's where Stripe Digital Solutions comes in. So we sure do appreciate everything Brandy is doing for the Renegades of Puck and jumping in the trenches with us. Let's kick it over to the Renegade Analytics desk and let's talk to Bryan Bastin from ontheforecheck.com. He's got the numbers you need to know, and I sure do appreciate having him right here. Bryan, give me the numbers.
Wow, what a game. The Nashville Predators win in overtime 4-3 over the Montreal Canadiens, capped off by a game-winning goal by who else but Philip Forsberg. The Nashville Predators had plenty of contributors tonight, including Luke Cunning's birthday Gordie Howe hat trick, which is pretty impressive, Matthias Ekholm's 2 assists, and of course the play of the Herd line. But one of the things that I want to talk about for tonight's one big stat is something that Willie and Chris had mentioned on the broadcast several times, and that is expected goals. Now, for those of you who are not familiar or a little bit mystified because it's a lot of math, expected goals are really just a probability. Historically, a shot taken from a specific spot in a specific situation, how much of a chance does it have to become a goal historically? So the NHL average is usually about 5.5% per shot, unblocked shot attempt. Nashville Predators tonight averaged an 8% chance at a goal on every unblocked shot that they took. They've been averaging slightly under 5% all season. That is one of the most impressive shooting performances that I've seen in terms of shot quality, and that's one of the things I think that really drove the Nashville Predators to the victory tonight. For those of you who don't like expected goals or probabilities, the Nashville Predators had 16 high-danger chances at 5-on-5 tonight, just compared to 2 for the Montreal Canadiens, which is pretty impressive. So we saw some of that vintage Nashville strategy and what Coach Hines is really trying to do with this team. They are trying to allow a few shots, but making sure that the opponent is only shooting low quality while trying to get high-quality shots themselves. Now, Nashville spent a good chunk of the game chasing the lead, and so obviously they had the advantage in the number of shots that they took, but they made sure to not fall into the trap of taking low-quality chances from distance, or if they were going to be taking shots from distance, like Matthias Ekholm and Benning did as well, to make sure that there's traffic in front of the net to be able to clean up those goals. So again, Nashville played impressively on defense. UC Saros had a great effort, only making 1 save in the third period. And Nashville was shooting high-quality shots, which is something that I've been preaching and hoping for a very long time. And that's tonight's one big stat.
You can find his work at ontheforecheck.com. You can see his charts right there. You can also follow him on Twitter at Bryan Bastin. You can find him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. He runs the Renegade Analytics desk. He's got the numbers you need to know, and you do not want to step to him in the digital realm because you will be tested. That is Bryan Bastin right there. Every one of the Renegades of Puck bringing the goods and delivering it right here in the trenches for Renegades of Puck TV. So appreciative to have each and every one of them. Perkins, appreciate you out there bringing the sick memes and showing the visuals that help make the show that much better. And of course, Ulti, we look forward to getting you back from IR soon. If you'd like to be a correspondent here on Renegades of Puck TV, it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what level of hockey you happen to be covering in your area. It's very easy. All we need is some cell phone video. You can email that to renegadesofpuck@gmail.com. Tell us where you're covering hockey. Tell us what you're covering and tell us some detail about it. We'll get you featured here on Renegades of Puck TV. Do you play on a team? Do you cover a team? Is there a unique hockey story in your area? We look forward to bringing more and more stories as we continue to expand the trenches. We want to get far outside of the Middle Tennessee bubble. We want to take over the hockey world. The front lines, after all, are everywhere. We will dig those trenches 1 inch at a time and bring Renegades in one by one, and we will continue doing that in the most no-half-stepping and positive way. We will become a force for positivity in the hockey community because there is so much toxicity out there, and there are so many artists out there and so many people out there that simply do not deliver the goods when it comes to talking the great and glorious game of hockey. You Renegades of Puck already know about that, so keep the recruiting up. When we gain enough numbers, we will become a positive force. We will be able to take on more projects. We'll be able to take on more things out there. Believe me, Renegades, we have plenty of ambitions in the trenches right here. Stop giving support, stop giving life to those who don't support what you want to hear about and what you want to talk about, and start supporting the people that do. Hey, for every one of the Renegades of Puck, for MOSTRODAMUS, for Sean C. Smith, for Bryan Bastin, for Kyle Perkins, and for the ultimate one, I am your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. Thank you so much for jumping in the trenches with each and every one of us. We look forward to being back in here and entertaining you again soon. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. Stick taps, love, respect.